Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. And let's make sure we're all set here. If you guys can let me know in the comments section, you can hear and see me okay, that would be great. Also, for more information on us, if you haven't come on board yet, surplusfundsriches.net. Definitely want to check that out. Just making sure. Good evening. Happy to be here, brother. Thank you, Anthony. Also, guys, two specials. February 6th, starting February 6th, open, or rather open for the 6th and 7th only. One of them is going to be, we are going to offer the tax surplus strike force again. Obviously, it's not for the launch price, but it's not for a whole lot more. Instead of $397, it'll be $447 just those 2 days. And then the other big deal is the February surplus bundle, which is going to be tax surplus strike force. I'm reading my notes, obviously. National surplus, the partnership version, the Florida remote program, and the hybrid program for $697. Of course, you guys can get in for as little as $397 on the national surplus partnership only version of the program, and you can get in for $447 on the tax sale, or rather tax surplus strike force, the partnership book. I hear and see you. Everybody's okay. Hey, Cheryl, good to see you. Cherie, good to see you. CPay to me, good to see you. Kenneth Wilkins, good to see you. And Philippe. Speaking of Philippe, first one out of the chute. It's actually been, at this point, almost 2 weeks. But right after we launched that program, we got the first one under contract for one of our partners, and that was Philippe. And congratulations to you, sir. We're hoping to get that paid out in the next month or two. Got it all started, got all the paperwork in with the attorney. For those, oh, I can see and hear you from Ohio. Hey, Peter. For those of you guys who don't know, we do things a little different than anybody else. First of all, we pay more. There's only one other guy that I know that I know is consistently partnering with people, and I saw him showing off a check the other day online for like 3 or 4 thousand to a partner, and I mean the last one I wrote I think was for $7,500. Biggest one I've ever given to a partner as a commission was a little over 30 grand. Our average is over $6,000 now, and I've sent a lot for a lot more than that. Carol C, hey Sean, hello. Philippe again, thank you. You're welcome. Anyway, that's the major difference in the fact that we have a structured partnership where you don't have to call anybody. We do that. Your job is to get or create a list, depending on the program you got, and then take that and research the debt. Research the debt that was against the property at the time of the sale. We teach you how to do all this stuff. It's in the ebook. Research the property, send us that information on our worksheet, and we do the rest. We find them, call them, put the deal under contract, hire the mobile notary and the attorney. Of course, we negotiate, and we pay you a handsome commission at the end. Natasha says hi all, and Shaban, hi Sean, hey Shaban. Any and all questions, welcome, guys. You can fire away. We're on limited time here, 8:30. One thing that I would like to ask you, because I've got you guys here with me. We started this at 8 o'clock, obviously, Eastern time. Would it put anybody out if we started backing this up about an hour? In other words, we have these about twice a month, usually every 2 weeks. Would it throw somebody off if we started doing them at 7 p.m. Eastern time? Stephen from Philly. Hey, Stephen. Nice to see you there. And Damon Suggs. Hello, hello. Hey, Damon. So, Stephen, interesting thing about Philly. Remember, guys, you work in surplus funds from home online. Doesn't matter what you work. You don't have to work your local area. Philadelphia is interesting. It's very, very, very difficult to work. You don't have to work your local area. Again, it's online from home, right? It's silly just to try to work local when it's all online. Philly has the DART program, Defendant Asset Recovery Team, or something like that. And they are horrible. We had one payout, it took us over 2 years. We honestly, I am not exaggerating, thought that the claimant was going to pass away. He was in critical condition the last year. Just the DART system up in Philadelphia is outrageously bad. One smooth cat, not at all. That's great. Cheryl says 7 sounds good. Cherie, I prefer the current time. Okay, good to hear. Hello from New York, Roberto. Hello, Roberto. Peter K says 9 works. Okay, well, Damon says 7 works. And 7 is fine here. I'm in Pacific time, so we're good to help on the East Coast time. 7 o'clock works for me. That's Charlene, and Philippe says seven's good. I noticed you exclude Philly in some of your descriptions. Well, Stephen, actually, I know that there's two things. So we also flip property, and with the national deed flip, we will not work Philadelphia. Let me tell you what was happening to me in Philly. And Stephen, if you're a local up there, you're gonna get this, okay? So in Philly, we were putting deals together. We were starting to put deals together. The girls. I have all woman crew, and they work. They're fantastic. They're on the phone nonstop putting deals together, both flips and with surplus funds recovery. And to a T, what we were getting was the people would always go, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good for an offer." And then they go, "Wait a minute, are you making a profit?" And we go, "Well, of course we're making a profit. We got a light bill over here too. We have, you know." What are you talking about? Yes, we're going to make a profit off of that. And they would say, and I kid you not, Stephen, oh, then I want to work with you. I mean, they would rather cut off their nose to spite the face. I mean, it's just the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. Um, with surplus funds, it's just difficult because of who we have to go through to get the money back on that side. And the DART program, Defendant Asset, it's something team. I don't know if it's a recovery team or what, but they are a nightmare to work with. And I think part of that has to do with Philadelphia had a sheriff that got in trouble years ago for embezzling a lot of funds and sending them to offshore accounts. And I think a lot of the funds he embezzled were surplus funds. So they put this in place, but it's really not helping anybody because it takes forever to pay them. Kevin says California sounds good. Carol says 7 is good. Hey, Sean, how much does the tax surplus funds pay out? Okay. So Anthony, it depends on the program. The national surplus funds, which is where you're using a list. If you get a list online for tax or a mortgage overage surplus funds, either one. If you can get a list for that in the county and it's not more than like 3 4 months old, right? If you can get a list for that, you can work it. And there's insane amount of those online. And we give you 27% of the net, which works out to 8 to 10% of the gross. Average deal's 50 grand. Average payout on national is about 5 grand. Okay. Panningford and surplus funds pays 40%. And by the way, these 3 programs that I'm going into, none of them require you to call anybody. Your job is to get or create a list, research the debt, turn that in. We do the rest. Okay. The Panningford and surplus funds is mortgage overages in states that are non-judicial, which means the courts don't actually handle the foreclosure. The attorney does. They go through this courts in a limited way, but the attorney handles the foreclosure and then handles the disbursement of the surplus funds. So there's no list available. So with the panning system, we teach you how to create your own list, avoid some common mistakes that'll get you inaccurate or wrong answers as far as what's being held. Turn that into us and we take it from there. And we're dealing with usually the foreclosing attorney. And by the way, they won't talk to anybody except the real attorney, has been our experience. So we always hire attorneys for our deals. And we use a structured buyout to lock the people down and to convert better. But that one is the Panningford and surplus funds in non-judicial states on mortgage foreclosures, mortgage overages. The one we just launched is tax surplus strike for, and I'm sorry, the Panning pays 35% of net. That works out to 10 to 12% of the gross. In most instances, net being after we pay the claimant and the attorney and all that, right? The last one is the tax surplus strike force, which we just launched, which is 35%. And you're going after tax sales, tax overages in states where it takes them a while to either create a list or you can't get a list because we teach how to accurately estimate that. It's been dead on. And we just got the one under contract immediately, a couple of weeks after we launched it with Philippe. We're working on 2 more too now. I'm just not going to mention their names because I don't want to get somebody excited because we're in the early stages, right? We have to have an attorney check some stuff. But that's 35%. You're looking at, again, 10 to 12. There's really not much of a difference between the other one. So 5 to 6 grand on the average payout for that. And we're handling all the expenses. We give the people 10% of the gross amount being held by the court or the attorney. We give them that within 10 business days after they sign our contracts. That locks them down, gives us a lot of credibility, as well as our attorney. But that really helps us on our conversion rates. Obviously, we have the attorneys double check everything within that 10 days. We want to make sure we can get it, no claims been made, and the money's still being there, is still there, right? I got kind of sidetracked there. Roberto, if possible that we recover more of that estimated surplus amount, what happens if so? Couple things, Roberto. So my great question, right? So let's say our estimated surplus is 35 and it comes in at 40. We pay our owner based on a percentage, the claimant based on a percentage. So we're going to pay them based on what we actually collect, not what our estimate is. Although usually we have a really good idea because we have the attorneys double check that too. Sometimes we can't. Sometimes we've got to get it signed and move forward. We know it's probably about right, or I mean, we can be a few thousand off. It's not going to kill anybody, but we pay the claimant based on that, and we pay you based on what we actually got out too. So if there's more there, you guys get more money. Charlene, do you have any videos on surplus hybrid? If not, can you please give a little bit of information on it? Sure, but Charlene, you'll be better off going to surplusfundsriches.net. Hey, everybody listen to this if you haven't bought. Surplusfundsriches.net. Click on programs or products, okay? Either one of those. Go to that page, there's downloads. One of the downloads is the Insider's Guide. That is an overview of every single program we got. It's fantastic. I'm going to hit this real quick though, Charlene. So I think it's Charlene. Okay. So the hybrid is simple. And you can use this one of two ways. This is for surplus funds, tax or mortgage. Let's say you called people or you can't find people, cannot find them, or you call them, they don't want to work with you, or you research the debt first and you found out there's too much debt, I can't get this. What you can do at that point, instead of throwing it away, is you can take a quick look in pacer.gov to see if that individual went into bankruptcy within 2 years before or 2 years after the foreclosure. Good window it's a good thumbnail. So if they did, you can get in touch with the bankruptcy court and say, look, I know where there's money due back that you can collect on this case, this bankruptcy case, and be happy to tell you where it is, give you all the information, tell you how to claim it, 25%. Now, usually, I know it's going to freak a lot of people out, but remember that the bankruptcy court, they don't care. It's not their money, right? They usually do not sign an agreement. What they do instead is they will agree. You can even email them, the attorney that handled the case or the judge that handled the case, both of them usually. They'll say, yes, sure, we'll find that. And then you'll actually be able to look in pacer.gov, the bankruptcy system for the United States. You'll be able to look in there and tell that they have actually petitioned the court to pay you. No kidding. They don't care. It's money it's not their money, and they are working quasi for the creditors here. So if they can get some more money for them, that's great. Okay. So, and this is fantastic because what some people do will actually plug it into Pacer first, see if they went into bankruptcy, see if they can get the money that way without even contacting anybody and going through all that. Now, look, it's rare. It's not something that's going to happen every other deal that you look up and research. It might be as high as 2 to 3% of the deals. But first of all, that's going to help you big time if the people don't want to talk to you or if they're in the wind, right? Or if there's too much debt. Bankruptcy court has priority claim in front of all the other debt. It could be argued IRS could come in, but usually that's not an issue there. That's a big deal, guys. That's a really big deal. And it's so easy. Yeah, I mean, they'll literally pay you because they don't care. And there is no finder cap or anything crazy like that with the federal court, with the bankruptcy court anyway. Damon, I found several opportunities to work, but the numbers seem low. Would I be able to take an extra step by going directly to the tax office to inquire about the amount owed to determine surplus? All right, so Damon, with the national surplus, the county already created a list of surplus funds. So with that program, if you were going to use that program, just go online. I mean, you can I'm not kidding you. You can go on and go Franklin County, Ohio surplus funds, something like whatever it is, any county, any state, you can do that. And you kind of get a hit of an online list probably 20% of the time. I mean, it's unbelievable how many you can find that way. Or you can even call or email. Usually it's the clerk or the bookkeeper, but it can be the sheriff's department, whoever holds the sale. You can call or email them, say, oh, I need a list of surplus funds. It's also called excess proceeds, overages, overbids, a couple of different things, excess funds. But you can figure that out with a list. Now, if you're using one of our systems, like if you're using Tax Surplus Strikeforce, where you're looking at opening bid and final sales price and a couple other variables there, we teach you how to do that. And you can be very accurate with it. With the panning for hidden surplus, which is mortgage overages in non-judicial states, where you cannot get a list without this program, and this teaches you how to be very good on your estimate, That is something we teach how to do with the panning system. Kimberly, North Carolina flip program. Awesome. I found the deed of trust and loan deed of trust. Do I have to turn the loan deed of trust in? Also, I didn't see anything about a loan deed trust. I have never heard of a loan deed of trust, Kimberly. A deed of trust is a mortgage in North Carolina. So I don't know anything. That'd be something to ask support using the support system online. Jeff, he's my right hand man, my partner. Guys, that we're not in another country, reading off of cue cards to or whatever, typing off of like a cue card into email based support. So he knows the front line way better than me. Stephen, what are the programs like? Video learning or something else? Stephen, 90% of it is written. You get an ebook, which is a step by step. I recommend you read it twice for comprehension. If you guys have a reading comprehension program, don't get it. This is the best way to learn. Read it twice for comprehension. There are file examples in the end of the book. Do those file examples, and that'll cut your learning curve in half. Then there is a link from that ebook to a resources page with more information, updates. It also has video, but they're ancillary. You don't need them to learn at that point. It also has some video training there too. And you also have access to our active files working list. So the first thing you'll do once, let's say you've got some that you're going to turn in, but you haven't researched the debt yet, we update the list every day, Monday through Friday. You go onto the resources page, download that new list for that day, use Control F and search by the names. Search by the names of the people that you are thinking to work on to make sure we don't have it. We don't have a saturation issue with this program at all, but it's nice that we do that every day because we want to avoid misunderstandings, right? And we don't want to waste your time. Roberto says, thanks, great. Shaban, sorry. Sean, what is a typical turnaround time for deed flip files? My question got lost earlier in the chat. Oh, sorry. So obviously we've got to get it under contract, Shaban, before it hits. With the deed flip, we're buying the property before the foreclosure, making a deal with the owner, paying off the foreclosing amount to stop the foreclosure. So obviously there has to be some meat there, right, on the bone. Paying off the foreclosing entity, whatever the foreclosing amount is. And then if the people are living in it, we'll let them stay another month, sometimes a little bit longer than that. We'll give them some money up front after we record the deed and pay off the either tax or mortgage, whatever is foreclosing, and stop that foreclosure. We'll give them some money at that point, and then when they get out, we'll give them the rest. You've got to hold a carrot out. They weren't afraid of the mortgage or the tax people. So a lot of times they played chicken with them. So you've got to keep some of that money back. So I'll pay them the rest of it when they're out. If they're not living in the property, I'll just pay them up front, whatever we need, get everything relocked, rekeyed and taken care of. Having said that, 2 to 3 months, typically. Natasha, how many Strikeforce files have been turned in since it started beginning of January? Natasha, I have no clue. I have a department. Come here, honey. I have a department that handles that. I don't keep track of that. That would be my supervisor that handles that. I have no idea. And it's just so early on. Remember, we have a 3-file rule. In other words, you turn in 1 file, then you see it's accepted, it's on the working files list. So now you can turn in the second, and then after that's accepted, when you see a second one turn on, you can turn in the third one. Now that you've had 3 accepted, you can turn in 5, 10, 15 at a time. We don't care. This way you don't turn in 10 incorrectly, make mistakes on them, and we kick them all back and you get discouraged and go away. So there was a delay. There's typically about at least a week delay after we launch a new program because we always have the 3-file rule in there. Anyway, it's only been then 22 days. But I have no idea how many have been turned in. We still take national surplus funds, panning for hidden surplus funds, deed flip files. So we're handling all of them. Hold on. I kind of got ahead of myself here. Thanks for the information, says Charlene. You're very welcome. And support says, Kimberly, a deed of trust is a mortgage. Yeah, same thing I said. Shaban, cheers, Sean. Back at you, Shaban. So guys, if there's any other questions, let me know. I will tell you, we are very excited about this. One of the questions that I've gotten was people saying, hey, I had your national surplus. I've been working with you for 2 years, whatever. We have a lot of people that stick around a long time with us, guys. I didn't pick up your new program, the tax surplus strike force, and I tend to work tax overages, tax surplus funds. Is this going to hurt me? Is it going to hurt you? No. Now, is somebody going to beat you to the punch because they're able to turn in that file based on the estimate using our estimation method? Absolutely. They're going to beat you to turning in files and that's what it was designed for, guys. It was designed to make us more competitive against people outside of our membership, right? Because we're going to be a lot more competitive because now there are some counties that take months before they'll put a list out there. Now we're going to be able to start working that immediately, in most cases, immediately upon sale, which nobody else can do, right? And then on top of that, there are some areas that don't even give out lists, period. The counties won't publish them or won't give them out. Well, it doesn't matter now. We can estimate it without that list. For the tax surplus strike force is obviously for tax overages. For mortgage, that would be the panning, frid, and surplus on how we estimate that. That works in about 25, 28 states. I can't remember which, but that's for mortgage overages in states where it's non-judicial. So the attorney handles the foreclosure and the disbursement of funds, and the court. So there's no list given out. The attorney's not going to give out a list. Anthony, thanks, Sean. Is there a time where the flips did better than the surplus? I would say some years ago, there were, especially in a couple of states in particular, North Carolina, Florida stand out, where the flips were just unbelievably easy to do. They've gotten more difficult. The biggest problem with flips right now, we're certainly still working them, and you know, it's a big deal and it's very profitable. We'll still work them, but right now people are redeeming the property a lot, especially on the tax side. Okay. That's why even when we're doing the tax surplus strike force, you've got to kind of watch it, make sure that it actually sold. But right now, there's a lot of sales, but there's also a lot of redemptions. So it's different. It's a much different time right now. Typically during the summer, it'll heat up. The flipping will heat up. Right now, it's weird. It's kind of like I used to be a real estate broker, and it's kind of like the real estate market. It starts waking up in February, but the flip market, I'd say it's going to be closer to the middle of the year. We're in really interesting times right now, guys. Economy is kind of a mess. We're in very high credit card debt. Inflation, even though inflation is moderating right now, cost of living is moderating, but we still haven't kept up with wages, right? And I can tell you, as an employer, I pay my crew extremely well, way better than I used to pay them. You've had to do that over the past year, way better than I had to pay them before. And I paid well before, but I had to jack that way up, plus give full medical benefits to get people's attention these days. And I don't even charge them anything for the medical. Anybody that knows anything about that knows that's a huge benefit. Having said that, the last time we had to replace somebody was about middle of last year. And now I've got a crew that I just absolutely love and everything's working great. But if I had to replace somebody right now, there'd be a line out the door. There would. That's the economy right now. And I'll tell you what, employers are starting to pull it back a little bit on what they're offering because they can't afford it anymore. I'm not gloom and doom. We are obviously recession proof, right? I mean, we're going to do fine. Market's good. That's great. There's going to be demand for what we're doing. The average surplus is going to be even higher because there's going to be more and more demand for the property that is available. If the market's doing bad, there's a lot more opportunity out there. It might be slightly less on the average deal, but there's a lot more opportunity out there. And it's a great opportunity for us to help people, right? Get money back for them. Stephen, in the elevated bundle, is 50/50 a different program? Absolutely, guys. Whenever you see, wait a minute, or an upgrade to the national surplus. No. 50/50 is different. Now, 50/50, we give you 50% of the net, okay, in the surplus funds 50/50 program. Now, in order to get 50%, which is outrageous, of our net, you've got to not only get a list, research the debt, you also have to give them a quick call. Make sure you can reach them and that they're willing to speak to us. We'll still negotiate, get the contract signed, hire the mobile notary and the attorney, and do the rest of it, but you have to actually have a conversation with them. Now, I believe with the 50/50, we will also skip trace the first 10 or 15 files, something like that. So it's a different program. Can I come work there? Ha, just kidding. I know, it's a good deal. Not only do they have good hourlies, and full medical. And guys, it's not trashy medical. I give them good medical, and it's out of my pocket. They also have a 401k built in, and paid time off. It's a great place to work. Natasha, I heard in one of the videos that you said you stumbled upon surplus funds almost accidentally. That's correct, if accurate. Can you share a bit here? Just curious, enjoy the storytelling. Oh, you're no problem. So, Jeff, who's my business partner, we were both realtors back in the day, brokers. I had a big real estate team. Jeff was very good, both selling on the selling and the buying side himself. We got together and we were working together on that. And it was going okay. And I was working with an investor named Troy. He was from New Jersey, semi crazy, okay? And I'm seeing some of the comments, sorry. Semi crazy, but also brilliant. And what we would do is we would buy the deed from the owner going into a tax sale in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. We did this all local. If somebody was going into a tax sale, we'd say, look, we want to buy your deed. We'll give it to you, whatever, 10 grand, 20 grand. The sale's going to hit in a week. We'll give that to you within 2 weeks. And sign the deed over. Here's a contract, and we'll do it. And then we'd take that deed down and we record the deed. And then the bid would hit, all the buyers would be there, or there'd be a notebook with all the buyers and their phone numbers. And there'd be a list of all the bids that were made. And we'd contact them all and go, look, there's 30 grand in debt against this thing. Okay. We made a deal. We've got the deed now. You can buy it from us and pay off the 30 grand in debt to stop the sale. Give us 40, because we're going to give 20 of that to the owner, right? Let's say. Give us 40, pay off the 30 to stop after that, because you can record the deed. Now you're the owner. You can go ahead and flip or rather, pay off the debt because you own it and to stop the foreclosure. Now you're in at 70 instead of the 120 you would have been in. In fact, this is early 2000s, okay? So, and we made a fortune doing that, but we had a couple of them where nobody would buy it like that. It was a lot of newbies bidding, and it was like they didn't understand it. So we went when we talked to the clerk and said, "Hey, what happens when it sold for 100 grand? There was a total of 50 in debt. Where's the other 50 go?" And the clerk said, "Well, whoever the last owner gets that. It's surplus funds." Well, we were the last owner. Here's a copy of the deed. Pay us. No, it's not that easy. You got to hire an attorney, and you got to show there wasn't any debt to get title work done. Well, we had already done the title. But then I went down. And talked to the bookkeeper and said, "Hey, listen, do you have a list of surplus funds?" "Oh yeah, that's the 21,460 report or whatever it was." And I said, "Great, can I get a copy?" "Sure. How many years do you want?" 10 years. I didn't know, 10 years. So that's going to be expensive. Well, it turned out 10 years was 300 pages at 30 per page. Do the math, right? 9,000 on there. Now, not all of them were overages. By any means, not all of them were overages, but a good many of them were, and it blew our minds. And now we kind of had an idea of how to start this up. The rest is history. We started training other people, then we started partnering with other people. And yeah, I haven't looked back. I love this business way better than brokerage. Steven says, LOL. Is surplus creditor partnership 50/50 going to be offered as an add-on program in the February sale? Yeah. Guys, hey, do me a favor. Surplusfundsriches.net, click on programs or products, go to that page. There's 2 downloads. One's an overview of all the programs. The other one's an overview of what's going to be for sale. Can't believe I just did that. That Vanna White move. Anyway, the other one will be what's going to be for sale. Kimberly, it said a loan deed of trust. I seen in the deed of trust as well. It was separate documents. Is that what you're referring to? SFR support, just making sure. Use support on that one, Kimberly, I'd say. I've never seen that, and listen, we've been doing this for 20 years, never seen loan deed of trust. But who knows? People write up wacky stuff. I kid you not, Jeff and I actually saw somebody had transferred a property with a quit claim deed. They called it a quick claim deed, Quick, at the top. The rest of it was filled out correctly. Called it that, court recorded it. It counted. So it doesn't surprise me if something's called something else. Who knows? Might have been a personal loan, a personal deed of trust. But you can certainly just look at the example, the file example, and turn it in like that. Come on, honey. Sorry, my dogs are driving me crazy right now. There is, Is there any difference when the plaintiff is the sheriff or a bank company in the foreclosure? Yeah, it depends on. This is Roberto. You need to know whoever held that foreclosure. Okay, that's going to tell you if it was a mortgage or a tax foreclosure, and the list will probably tell you that too. The other thing is whoever created the list. Um, Guys, this is something I run into a lot. People go, I'm not sure if this is. Call them. Call whoever created the list. Okay, I'm looking at this list. What is this? Is this mortgage overages, tax overages? What is this? And they will tell you they're not. There's no black helicopter flying around the court ready to arrest you, and then you're going to go buy a book. Catcher in the Rye, and they're going to come and get you. Some of you guys are going to get that. It's a reference to the movie Conspiracy Theory. But anyway, you can call and ask too. But yeah, whoever held it will tell you what kind it was, and that's your great starting point right there. Is this webinar being recorded? Yes. When is the next webinar? So typically it's twice a month. So it's typically every 2 weeks. And then of course sometimes we'll skip a week to keep it to 2 times a month, Valerie. If you go to Surplus, guys, please go to the site and keep going to the site, surplusfundsriches.net, and click on webinars. We don't always update that frequently on there, but if you will check on that, a lot of times you'll see a reference to it. We'll also do a video on this channel. So, my God, guys, subscribe to the channel, follow the channel, like this video, like the next one, whatever, so that you get notified because I typically put on a video too right before it hits. So that's important. Anyway, we've hit the end of our time here this evening. Did you guys get a lot of ice snow where you're at? Stay warm. Have a great night. Thanks, Cheryl. We did, but it was fine. We're going to get hit really hard with snow coming up. I hope all of you guys are safe out there. You have good shelter. And man, thank you so much for your time. You too, Anthony. Y'all have a good night. And yes, this is being recorded. It'll show up as a replay probably this evening or tomorrow morning. Thanks again.